Hi everyone. My name is Josh Slovacek.
Um, and I'm Susie Nielsen. I'm the one that got in the car accident. Um, and we are here to celebrate the life and career of Lowell Bergman, the godfather of investigative reporting, who is retiring at the end of this year.
After half a century of reporting, Lowell Bergman has a lot of stories to tell, and we've taken his class several times, and he has a lot of stories. One of the stories he's most fond of sharing goes back kind of a ways farther, Plato's Cave. Now, I'm no philosophy major, so I apologize for butchering this. But just to give an idea, it was a Friday late last spring when we heard Lowell's version of it for the first time, cryptic whiteboard illustrations included. And it goes kind of like this: that humanity is trapped in a cave, forced to watch shadows dancing across a wall, shadows that they all believe are reality. But then someone gets free, climbs out into the world, into the sun to find the true form of things, and then decides to return to share what they have discovered. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't end too well for the escapee. The people in the cave kind of kill him. And that, as Lowell's told us, is investigative reporting. I'd like to say, as somebody trying to get into that career, thanks for the pep talk, Lowell. But Lowell would be in a position to describe the nature of what holding the powerful accountable in journalism entails. It started in 1968 when Lowell was a graduate student at UC San Diego, studying under the late Marxist philosopher Herbert Marcuse. After his mentor was attacked by local newspapers, then Governor Ronald Reagan, and right-wing vigilantes, Lowell and his peers decided to start an alternative publication, the San Diego Free Press. As a fledgling reporter, one of the simple questions he asked was, who really held power in San Diego? The answer led to the underground newspaper taking on the corrupt empire of C. Arnold Smith, Mr. San Diego of the century, and a close friend of another national catastrophe, Richard M. Nixon. Since then, he has been involved with news organizations that many of us know: the San Francisco Examiner, Rolling Stone, the Center for Investigative Reporting, Investigative Reporters and Editors, New York Times, ProPublica, ABC News, and 60 Minutes. Aside from winning a Pulitzer, several Emmys, Peabodys, DuPonts, and Polk Awards, he's also had a movie made about his reporting. For those of you familiar with the film The Insider, starring Al Pacino, that was Mr. Lowell. He started lecturing on investigative reporting here at the J School in 1991, and since then has founded the Investigative Reporting Program at Investigative Studios, a nonprofit newsroom here at the university that has and will continue to educate and inspire generations of investigative reporters. Before passing the mic off to Susie, I'd like to say thank you, Lowell. Thank you for forging paths, challenging power, and showing many of us how to do the same.
That was great. So, as a student and employee of Lowell's for the last year, one aspect of his teaching sticks out in my mind. Most professors, when they bring guests to class, they bring leaders in their fields, distinguished professors, prize-winning authors, and Lowell's guests were a little more unusual. You see, Lowell can get anyone, and I mean anyone, to talk to him. This is an immensely useful trait for a journalist, and one benefit of being his student is that you can talk to them too. So, over the course of our 2 years at the IRP, Mr. Bergman introduced us to a cast of characters that included Dano Hanks, aka Vermin, his partner's nickname was Pestilence, a private investigator who's worked for Hollywood tabloids, the FBI, and the Mafia, and Skyped into class from his house because he was on probation. Felix Sater, a Mafia-affiliated real estate expert embroiled in the Trump-Russia saga, who told us all about that time he stabbed someone in the face with a margarita glass. Bill Rusamenti, the director of the Central Valley High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Program, who basically helped found the DEA and has been involved in the drug war since it was founded in the 70s. And a high-profile former member of the Trump administration who spoke with us off the record, which is why I can't tell you their name, over soda and sandwiches one surreal spring afternoon. With each wild new encounter, Lowell reminded us, you don't have to like these people. You don't have to agree with them to know that they're worth listening to, that they are worth asking questions of. They can all help you get closer to the truth of things. And I just wanted to end on some other pieces of advice that Lowell has given us for my classmates and for all of you, because I think they actually extend beyond journalism. First is always try to disprove your own story. If you have an idea about something, seek out facts and opinions that contradict it. If the story is strong, then it will withstand this process and maybe become even stronger for it. Number two, if you want to do something interesting or ambitious at work, inception your boss. In other words, make them think it was their idea all along. And three, if powerful people get mad at you for saying something, chances are you're headed in the right direction. Lowell, you have spent your life urging cave dwellers outside. Thank you so much for all of your work, and happy retirement.
This is not my retirement speech, and I'll make it as brief as possible. It is true, one thing that was said is true. I've been in the business for a half a century, and it's time to get a little space. And as part of that, though, I'm hoping to leave at least one tradition behind here at the school, and that's what I want. Those are the people I wanted to introduce you to today. One of those traditions we created at the investigative reporting program is a postgraduate fellowship program, to do something that is useful to many of you who are going to graduate and you may take advantage of in the future. And that is a full-year fellowship to pursue a story that you're really passionate about. And we give those fellowships, we give preference to graduates of the school. One, Deborah Souza Silva couldn't be here today because she just delivered her baby. Speaking of having a family, in the midst of which she's been trying to put together her story, which we're helping her with, a documentary project called Black Mothers, which chronicles the stories of the collateral damage that happens to families of the children who have been killed or brutally beaten by police. Deborah will be pursuing this for the rest of the calendar year. And then I want to invite up in a minute, because it's raining, I'm going to introduce both of them, and then they can come up and we're going to give them our little diploma here or remembrance of their time with us. We have two other fellows this year, full-time fellows who have, and what we do is provide a salary, benefits, a place to work, and an expense account to work on your story. So in this case, and this is, by the way, a tradition that's been going on for 14 years. One of our fellows this year is Susanna Breslin, who is pursuing the story of her own life as a, quote, lab rat. Susanna grew up here in Berkeley and was educated at a laboratory school at the university where they surveilled her, interviewed her, and basically watched her along the way until she became, as I understand it, a graduate of high school. Is that right? You get it through high school? Till you're 32 years old. Okay. Well, you could have surveilled you the whole time? Anyway, you'll have to read about it when she finishes her book. The other is someone who's actually had a 2-year fellowship, which is something we've done before. And this person, Elizaveta Ostinskaya, was someone we came across right after the election in 2016 and early 2017. Elizaveta was the editor-in-chief of the largest news website in Russia, in Moscow, when her investigative team decided to reveal that Vladimir Putin had a secret family and that his eldest daughter and her husband were multimillionaires. The next day, her site was shut down. She happened to be in Stanford. We met her, and she proposed to us a story for our fellowship. That was to create a new investigative news site on the ground in Moscow, edited here from Berkeley. That site, The Bell, has now existed for over a year and a half, has almost 1 million hits a month, and has become a fixture in the press in Russia and in Eastern Europe. It also appears in English, and underneath, at the lower part of their homepage, it says, produced in association with the investigative reporting program at the Graduate School of Journalism. It is an ongoing commitment that we have had in the past to foreign journalists in particular who have run into serious problems pursuing their work. So what I'd like to invite both of them to come up and accept a token of our appreciation. Susanna and Lizaveta. Thank you. And you're now eligible to apply.